Recently, there's a joke going viral on the Chinese internet. These days, anyone with a bit of ambition is already in debt. If I hadn't started my own business, I wouldn't have known I was capable of accumulating 2 million in debt. It sounds ridiculous at first, but if you think about it, it actually makes a lot of sense. Because in this era, the price of not wanting to lie flat is often, go into debt first, figure it out later. Some people say life now has two states, those who are in debt and those who are about to be in debt. There's also a third, more advanced type, people who are already in debt but still adding more leverage. We usually call them entrepreneurs. I have a friend from Chalsan in Guangdong. You should know, that region has a reputation in China for having strong business instincts. There's a saying, people from Chalsan don't work for others. They either run a business or are on their way to starting one. Well, there's actually a third type, those who already tried and are now on their way to paying off debt. My friend used to be full of confidence when he was young. He looked at regular jobs and thought, this isn't for me. I have to do my own thing. So he did. He invested, partnered up, opened businesses, tried everything. The result can be summed up in 4 words. Total collapse. He didn't make money, but he gained a lot of experience. The kind of expensive lessons you pay for with real money. The worst decision he made was buying an apartment in Huizhou. If you know anything about China's real estate market, you'll understand this is basically a story of an entire era. At the peak of the housing boom, prices in Huizhou went over 10,000 renminbi per square meter. During those years, if you drove to Huizhou, you would encounter real estate agents waving at you at almost every intersection. That's no exaggeration. The logic back then was simple. Can't afford Shenzhen? No problem. Buy in Huizhou. It's the backyard of Shenzhen. Sounds great, right? Reality is, many of those apartments are now worth half the price, and still can't find buyers. Not just 50% off. Even after that, people still ask, are you sure anyone will take it? My friend ended up in a very classic situation. He stopped paying the mortgage. From a future middle class, he quickly became someone with a damaged credit record. Do you think he regrets it? Of course he does. But if you ask him why he bought it back then, he'll say, because everyone else was buying. That sentence is more real than any economic theory. I didn't follow his lead and buy a house back then because I've distrusted the government for a long time, which saved me from a lot of misfortune. Except for my later entrepreneurial ventures, of course. Now let me talk about myself. I was never the kind of person who was happy just working a regular job. When I was younger, I always felt I was special, like working for someone else was a waste of my potential. So I also started a business. Before the pandemic, I opened a small restaurant. It wasn't big, but my mindset was big. I thought I was building my future business empire. Looking back now, that empire did exist. Just on my loss statement. At the beginning, business wasn't bad. It even gave me an illusion. Wow, making money is actually easy. Then the pandemic hit. Sometimes the world is very fair. Right when you feel the most confident, it gives you a perfect reality check. Lockdowns, no customers, costs still there. My restaurant quickly went from the starting point of a dream to the end point of damage control. 1 year later, I shut it down. To be precise, I didn't shut it down. Reality shut it down for me. Lost everything is a polite way to say it. A more honest version would be, not only did I make nothing, I lost even more. Later, I also took on some debt because of getting married. Yes, that's another topic worth a whole episode. Why modern marriage starts with financial restructuring. Anyway, at this point in life, I finally understand that joke. Ambition is the starting point of debt. But honestly, I'm still a bit luckier than my Chaoshan friend. At least I didn't buy property. If I had also rushed into buying an apartment back then, I probably wouldn't be writing this now. I'd be researching how to communicate emotionally with the bank without breaking the law. So now, even though I have many complaints about my job, long hours, small tasks, no salary increase, and sometimes a boss who still paints big promises, I still keep working. Not because I suddenly love my job, but because I finally understand something. In a highly uncertain environment, stable pain is sometimes safer than uncertain hope. You can call it compromise, or you can call it growth. Or maybe it's just a conditioned response. After being taught a lesson by life, sometimes I feel like our generation is playing life on hard mode. Look at our parents. They worked hard too, but their effort paid off. They lived through a period of rapid economic growth. Buy a house and it goes up in value. Lose a job and you can find another quickly. Effort and reward were mostly proportional. And us? We are told to work hard, but we face a world where results are not guaranteed. At 35, you might already be replaced. Housing prices may not go up. Starting a business is extremely risky. Even stability itself has become a luxury. So now we have this strange internet culture. People feel anxious but also joke about it. Under pressure, but still find ways to laugh. The 2 million in debt joke is popular. Not because it's funny, but because it's too real. So real that the only thing you can do is laugh. Laughter is actually a very advanced defense mechanism. When reality is something you can't change, humor becomes the last cushion. At this point, you might think I sound a bit negative, but not really, because if you look closely, there's something even more interesting. Even though everyone is complaining, joking, and venting, the next day they still go to work. Loans still need to be paid. Overtime still happens. Anxiety about the future is still there. Then at night, they scroll through some jokes, laugh a bit and say, "This is so real." This is probably how our generation survives. Not completely giving up, but no longer blindly optimistic. Somewhere between. Maybe I can still try, and let's just stay alive for now. As for what the future will be like, honestly, I don't know. But at least now I've learned one thing. Before making any ambitious decision, ask yourself one question. How much debt will this dream cost? If the answer is, I can handle it, then go ahead and try. If the answer is, this might ruin me, then maybe just keep your job for now. Because sometimes, just staying alive is already a pretty difficult business model.